Welcome back to Comic Lads.
Welcome back to Comic Lads. I am Merlin.
I'm Thomas.
And today, we're going to be tackling something. We're going to be talking about animated shows.
Yes, specifically superhero animated shows.
It's no surprise if you've been watching with us that we're constantly referencing shows like Spectacular Spider-Man, Batman the Animated Series, and I just think with the legacy that animated shows carry, there's just not enough of them these days.
Nope, we get shit nothing.
Yeah, and it's kind of surprising too because so many people's childhoods, I mean, they're built on some of the movies, obviously, like the X-Men movies in the early 2000s, the Tobey Maguire movies, but a lot of people get that extreme nostalgic feeling when they hear, like, the X-Men animated series theme song.
That's why X-Men 97's popping off right now. Like, so many people's idea of the X-Men stems solely from that show.
And so I just think this video is going to be mostly focused on why animated shows need to make a big comeback. We've seen a few glimpses that, you know, possibly there's a bright future ahead for animated shows in the superhero sphere.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about what the advantages are with superhero animated shows.
And why we need them to come back. Like, I love Invincible. It's not enough. I need the superheroes that I know and love and grew up with to have shows. We can't just keep having one Spider-Man show at a time made for, like, 5-year-olds. Those are not the important fans. They'll watch anything and everything. Young kids at that age, they're mature and, like, smart enough to get a normal animated show that's for all ages.
Yeah.
Just dumbed down for little kids.
Like, let's be real, the target demographic for something like Spectacular or Batman the Animated Series was Saturday morning cartoons.
Of course.
It was for kids, but they had those deeper elements to them that enrich them even to the point where as adults we watch Batman the Animated Series and we're like,
You're blown away.
what the hell's happening?
I'm crying,
Yeah.
you know? But before we get into the nitty-gritty, guys, make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps us out.
Also, guys, question of the week. Please let us know, what is your favorite superhero animated show and why? Is it something from your childhood? Is it something that you recently watched and you're really gassed about? Let us know in the comments down below. Let's open up the discussion, talk all things comics and super animated shows.
Enjoy the video.
But let's get into what the actual advantages are.
Yeah.
I think the number one thing is stylization and just possibility.
There's just so much you can do with animation.
Yeah.
And that you could never achieve to the same level in the movies, no matter what.
Into the Spider-Verse really proves that. You know, you compare Into the Spider-Verse as a movie with its, like, stylized elements compared to that of, like, one of the Tom Holland trilogy.
Even No Way Home, which I feel like it's kind of died down a bit in terms of people thinking it's the best thing ever. Like, I think it's because of movies like Across the Spider-Verse, where we can see what the genre is actually capable of.
The creativity that was oozing from that, like, every single frame was just a joy. It was just a joy to look at. Superheroes, there's a lot of great themes there, but what it comes down to most of all is, like, fight scenes.
The action.
Yeah. We have been rewatching the Batman show, the kind of like the spiritual successor to the animated series.
Yeah.
Dude,
It's like an anime almost.
those fight scenes, like, we were watching it the other day and he was, like, throwing batarangs, he was flipping, and I think we said to ourselves, like, this could not work in live action.
You couldn't do it.
You know what I mean?
It would look absurd.
It would look so stupid and goofy.
Yeah.
You know?
But in animation, it's the coolest thing you've ever seen. Like we're seeing right now with X-Men 97. That's popping off, bro.
Yeah.
Everyone's watching it, and everyone loves it because it's sick. And it's, like, really good animation, really good voice acting, really good everything. And I guarantee you, it didn't cost $225 million.
Guys, if you're not aware, you'd probably be, like, lucky, honestly. Kudos to you if you avoided it. I'm envious. Because She-Hulk costed $225 million.
That's $25 million an episode.
For, like, 9 episodes?
9 episodes.
9 mediocre at best. At best. It was definitely bridging on, like, brain cells fried.
It was unbearable.
Yeah, it was extremely unbearable. And then you take something like Across the Spider-Verse or Into the Spider-Verse, barely cracking $90 million as a budget.
Yep.
And you can feel the passion. You can feel, like, the energy on screen through the animation, through the writing.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, it's not just a matter of stylization and the possibilities that animation brings. It's also budget, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, all these movies, all these Disney Plus shows that, like, Marvel and Disney has just like thrown money at.
I know, and I'm.
You know what I mean?
It just makes no sense to me because why wouldn't you just greenlight more animated shows?
Let's blow $230 million on She-Hulk. That's easily the budget of like 5, maybe even 6 if you push it, really high quality animated shows and seasons.
Yeah.
You know, studios, they need to get their priorities straight. People are waking up slowly to this.
So animation, yeah, I think so.
Animation and the possibilities with it.
Another huge advantage that you get when you make superhero animated shows as opposed to movies that cost you $500 million is that's what the source material lends itself to better, is a long format. Like hundreds and hundreds of crazy issues of Spider-Man that you can adapt. It's endless content, but like we're gonna take 3 years between, like 3-4 years between movies? Why don't you just make a show?
Yeah.
That does everything.
100%.
That just does Spider-Man from start to finish. That's like 6-7 seasons.
It's so much easier to cover like the decades-long, you know, source material that's there.
Yeah.
You look at something like Spectacular, you know what I mean? How many rogues did we cover in just like 20 episodes alone?
Like 20.
And like good quality, well-written episodes, you know what I mean? That borrowed from all these different source materials from the last 60 years.
Yeah, and it wouldn't relegate you to taking these massive, sprawling, epic stories and dumbing them down to like, oh, Spider-Man's gonna have the symbiote for like a half hour in this movie.
Yeah. It's also like a matter of stakes too, I think.
Yeah.
Something like a big budget live action movie or TV show, the stakes are always like either the city's getting blown up or, you know, the world's ending. A giant laser is being fired into the sky and like aliens are descending down upon us.
Yeah, we can't get a story that breathes and evolves over time.
You can't get personal stories where you feel connected to both, you know, the civilian lives of these characters, what's going on in their personal lives, and the big threat, the big bad that's waiting around the corner to jump them, you know what I mean? Again, like Batman the Animated Series is a great example. It's not like every episode is like Gotham City on the brink of, of explosion. They're all the personal stories with, you know, Two-Face and Harvey and how that relationship is deteriorating with him and Bruce.
There's stories tackling, like you said, like Two-Face, and other ones tackling mental health. So much more opportunity to make content and to exercise your creator's creativity.
So yeah, just a lot more opportunity to really delve deep into characters and just storylines. And finally, guys, the third point on why superhero anime shows need to make a big comeback is legacy. You know, the past 2 points that we brought up about stylization and adapting characters and all that potential really feeds into the legacy of things like this. Case in point, something like X-Men 97, everyone's so hyped about it because the show from the 90s that everyone grew up with
is a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, and it still stands up. I mean, some of the animation, you know, but that's more budget and the time. Exactly, the time that they were in, the resources that they had. But even so, something like Batman the Animated Series still stands to this day.
And it always will. And people are still clamoring for Spectacular Spider-Man. People are still clamoring for Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. And now there's talk, because X-Men 97 is so successful, Marvel's weighing their options with that whole X-Men 97 animated universe and maybe expanding it. Maybe we'll get more Christopher Daniel Barnes Spider-Man, bro.
I'd lose it.
I would lose my mind.
I think X-Men 97 is a big wake-up call. I think Invincible is a huge wake-up call.
Huge wake-up call. How does season 1 of Invincible come out and you're not like, okay, where's this Batman show? We need a new Batman show, you know? We need a Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy to think because you look at Prime, they don't have any of the big heavy hitters in terms of like DC and Marvel, but still Invincible, I mean up until X-Men 97, was far outperforming them in terms of gaining viewers and getting people excited about it and getting people
just talking about it at all.
Talking about it.
Like, thank God for X-Men 97, honestly, because I'm really hoping it'll help us usher in a new age of good superhero cartoons again.
But there are still shows on the horizon. You know, there's been a lot of skeptical talk about shows like Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which used to be called
Freshman Year,
yeah, which was supposed to be an MCU kind of origin story for Pete.
Yeah, and then
Spider-Man.
And then I think Sony was probably like, no, it's not. And then Marvel was like, okay, it's like a what if show basically now.
Concept art for it looks pretty promising from what we've seen.
It does. It feels very 60s, very like fun Steve Ditko.
Along with that, we also got Batman Cape Crusader, which if you guys didn't hear, we'll just touch on it briefly. There was recently a leak of some of the
character designs.
and I have to say, I know that show has some of the showrunners and producers from Batman the Animated Series,
Bruce Timm specifically.
but on a visual standpoint, I wasn't too gassed on them.
No, there was like one or two that I thought were really cool. Like, I think he's like an obscure villain called Onomatopoeia, but like the Harley Quinn design, bro. Ooh, I got scared. I just really hope we get another age of superhero animated shows that are made by people who like want to tell a genuine story. Alright guys, that's it for our video this week. Let us know down in the comments what superhero animated shows you'd like to get made or brought back if they're already existing shows. Like, comment, share with your friends, subscribe if you haven't already. It really, really helps us out, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace, everyone.